Hello, travelers. Welcome to the Copper Fox Inn. Come on in, take a seat, and join us as we discuss homebrew for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. My name is Thomas the Human Bard, and I am joined today by...
Mercy the Tiefling Wizard.
Onog the Half-Orc Barbarian.
And me, a little Batlin, a little fluffy Batman.
Bean, do you have something stuck in your throat?
It is not, I am not a bean, I am a little bat.
This is so weird. You look just like our friend Bean. Like so much like our friend. It's weird to me. Well, you're going to have to introduce yourself and tell us about yourself. But before you do, I just want to tell this traveler that if they have a homebrew they want us to discuss on this show, they can send it to us at our email, thecopperfoxinn@gmail.com, on social media @thecopperfoxinn, or by commenting it below this video. While you're down there commenting, remember to like and subscribe to the channel for future Dungeons & Dragons homebrew discussion content. What would the movie Cats be like if it was instead bats, and there was the Jellicle bat?
Probably about the same and still pretty bad.
Better.
It would just be all the Bartok sections of Anastasia on repeat.
Have you seen those videos where they flip bats hanging down upside down and it looks like they're all like a rave together?
Or they're all like dancing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real, I think it would be much worse because bad bat face CGI is worse than cat face CGI.
You right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't want to see like a bat nose on Taylor Swift. Like I don't need that in my life.
Well, I have to put it in the episode now.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Look
you do.
away.
That's the
Travelers.
thumbnail.
Look away, travelers. Look away. Now, so you're not Bean.
I am not being.
Okay, well, tell me exactly who you are then, please.
Oh yes, I have given Mercy this scroll so she can read it in her voice and tell you all about it.
No, I don't think she can. I think she... Mercy she just walked out, I think.
Mercy, come back. Oh yeah? Okay. Oh, hey guys, I'm back. Sorry, I went to the bathroom for a second.
Oh no, I
I'm
thought
back.
she would take care of her while she was gone.
Okay, so this was actually, speaking of things you can send to us on social media, this was sent to us on Twitter by John from Buckland, but it was
John.
created by Croove, also known as Lycanthrope, on Twitter. Croove.
Is it at Croove or
At Croove.
At Croove.
We'll link it below so you can find their Twitter and whatnot.
So what is this exactly?
So this is the Batlins. This is a player race. Batlins are a subrace of goblins that live in small towns amongst canopies and caves. They are a peaceful and shy people who live amongst nature but never do any damage or overtake their share of what the forest or cave provides. This makes their towns hard to find, as they don't tend to leave a trace. However, Batlins can always find their home and other communities like theirs. They are very small, smaller than most goblins, and can take on an appearance of any type of bat. They have long prehensile tails that they use to secure themselves in trees while they sleep.
Oh.
All very good and cute.
So they're bats.
They're bats.
Ooh, for the spooky times.
Yes, we are bats. We thought we would come visit you at this time of October.
Yes.
It seemed appropriate.
As the prophecies have foretold, the Halloween has come again. We've tried to stop it, and we never are able to. It comes around every time, takes our children as sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, we have
Halloween?
We have the age-old tale of how Santa Claus tried to steal Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
classic.
And it's just he tries and he tries and he tries, but no matter what, there's always more candy to give out. That the Whatts who live down in Whattville, I believe. I can't remember the story.
Something about that.
Yeah.
Something about that.
Isn't his wife like an undead skeleton? I'm mixing
Yeah.
up my movies, I think.
He's a zombie. His wife's I don't know. So Batlin traits.
His dog's a ghost, for sure.
As a Batlin, you have access to these traits. Ability score increase. Your dexterity score increases by 2.
Okay, sure.
Age. Batlin reach adulthood at age 8 and live up to 60 years. Alignment. Batlin tend to have a neutral good alignment. Oh, so they're very nice. They're just friendly. Size. Batlins are short, usually 2 to 3 feet, and weigh about 40 pounds. Your size is small. Batlin are quick and agile despite being small creatures. Your base walking speed is 30 feet, so they don't have the typical decrease there.
Decrease
Well, there are subrace of goblins, so they wouldn't.
Oh, goblins are the ones who don't.
Goblins are one of the very few small races who don't.
Right. So they have dark vision, which of course they do.
Yep.
They're bats. Makes sense.
I would honestly maybe even... Okay, so...
Blindside?
So, yeah, we all know. Bats aren't really blind. Don't at me in the comments. We get it. I know. We've heard. but blind sight? Or at maybe like tremor sense, which is more of like a vibrations thing.
Something.
Is echolocation itself a vision type in D&D?
Well,
No?
echolocation is a thing, but it is created by two different rule sets. So it's basically because there is a bat monster block in the Monster Manual and the Player's Handbook, and basically what it is they have blind sight out till X number of feet. I think it's 60 or 80 or something like that. A certain amount of feet they can just see through blind sight. However, they have a stipulation in their text that says like if they lose blind sight if they cannot hear.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So if you cast deafness,
Yeah, or silence.
They go blind.
They also cannot see. Interesting.
Well, they can see. They just don't have blind sight.
Oh, do they also have?
Yeah, they have normal
regular
vision. They have normal.
I see.
They have normal
Yes,
vision
that
and
makes
things
sense.
like
That
that. I don't know if
makes
they have
sense.
night vision actually. Or dark vision. Let me double check that.
Any reference to the existence of echolocation invariably just makes me think of that favorite beloved Avatar: The Last Airbender episode where they go to the play about themselves and the guy plays Toph and he's like, I see by emitting a sonic boom from my mouth, and then he just screams.
Mr. Batlins, sir, do you just scream to see?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I do not do
What
that.
is, by the way, I'm sorry, I don't want to call him Mr. Batlin. I feel like that's a little insensitive. What's your
No, Mr. Batlin is my father.
I see.
You can
There
just
we go.
call me Batty.
Okay, Batty the Batlin. I'm
Okay.
Hubie. Hubie the human.
So yeah,
That's what
so
everybody calls
bat senses in the stat blocks. They do not have They do not have dark vision. They have blind sight up to 60 feet,
Interesting.
and then the echolocation tag, which is the bat cannot use its blind sight while it is deafened, and it also has keen hearing. The bat has advantage on all wisdom perception checks
That's
that
fair.
rely on hearing, which would be all of them if it is using its blind sight.
Right.
enough.
That's cool.
That is cool. Okay.
And then wings. Batlins have a flying speed of 30 feet. They have proficiency in perception, and they can speak, read, and write Common and Goblin.
They don't have a hover speed, which means that if they don't actively move while flying, they fall to
right,
the ground.
right.
Which is, I mean,
I don't think
that's
bats
one of-
do hover. They kind of
correct.
soar on the.
It's
yeah.
just one of the few ways you can kind of balance out a fly speed amongst player races, where it's like,
Yeah.
you'd have to, if you stand perfectly still on one turn, you actually can't.
You cannot.
You would fall.
I gotta say, this is some of the best art I've ever seen in my
It's
life.
very
I'm not
cute.
sure if this is original art by Crew,
I
or
don't
if this
know.
is art they've used from someone, but
Whoever
it is
did it,
fantastic. I
you're
feel
wonderful.
Like, while I appreciate the sort of Halloween spooky time vampiric nod you've given the voice here, when I
Yes,
see
of
this guy,
course.
all I can hear is, "Hey, what do you want? Hey, I'm just a bat. What are you looking for?"
Oh, you sound just like my brother.
Oh, yeah. I feel like this guy would just be on the street, just like selling hot
He
dogs.
grew up in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yo, it's me. I'm from Brooklyn.
That's great.
Yeah. So, on the topic of blindsight echolocation and all that, this may be kind of a weird place to put this because I don't know if anyone will find it if searching for it ever. But I've been trying to build a dark elf monk, or I guess fighter. It doesn't matter the type, but who doesn't suffer from the effects of sunlight sensitivity. So
Right.
I've been trying to find ways to balance out the negative impact of sunlight sensitivity. Most people just say like your DM gives you like a hat that says you don't have sunlight sensitivity or whatever, some sunglasses or something like that. But
Hey.
I wanted a way to do it raw, to do it from the book as written. So I found a kind of a raw because it relies on unearthed arcana. So,
Pseudo-raw.
Pseudo-raw.
Medium rare.
There we go.
We both got there at the same time. Medium rare. And it relies on the class feature variants unearthed arcana. There are additional fighting styles. One fighting style was called blind fighting. This would be available to fighters, paladins, and rangers. Blind fighting states that you do not have disadvantage when you make an attack against an opponent you cannot see, as long as they are not hidden from you. So,
Right.
if in the daytime my dark elf goes outside and wants to fight another creature and not have disadvantage on literally everything that they do. My idea was they would just wrap like a blindfold around their eyes during the daytime, and during the night they just have it like wrapped around their belt or whatever. And their opponent would be like, what? This guy's blindfolding himself? But that would literally negate the disadvantage in a way that still allows me to gain advantage, because it doesn't gain the advantage and then balance it out. It just says I don't suffer disadvantage on attacks.
Right. So then if you do get advantage from something else, it actually goes off because advantage doesn't stack. So like that's
because I was originally trying to find ways to give myself advantage on attacks, like the samurai fighter. I can give myself advantage on every attack this turn. But then it means I can't actually ever get advantage.
You're actually just missing the point of your
going to
class.
the neutral ground. Yeah.
Going to neutral. Yeah. And I wanted to not go to neutral. So by blindfolding yourself on the battlefield, you are better than if you were looking at the thing you were trying to hit.
I mean,
if it's in sunlight.
That's not a bad idea.
It's kind of sick, right? Like,
real quick, here. I just want to explain this for... I know some people who listen might not have followed that exact logic that we just did with the rules. Okay. So when you have disadvantage and then something else gives you advantage, it just neutralizes...
And
but
so
you can't stack advantage. Yeah, if that has happened and now you're on neutral ground and something else gives you advantage, that doesn't go off because you can't stack it with the advantage you already have, so you're just stuck at neutral.
No matter how many advantages and disadvantages you have on the same thing, if you have at least one of each, it's nothing.
Right. Yeah. So by just negating the disadvantage now, anything that gives you advantage, you actually get the advantage. So by tying a blindfold around my head and fighting by listening, I can still be given advantage by a friend's ability or something like that.
Right,
or if
because it's not that you have,
prone.
It's not that you have neutralized the disadvantage by granting yourself advantage. You have neutralized the source of your disadvantage, which is
exactly.
And so, while this is a weird place to kind of bring up that niche build that I've been personally working on, I think it's actually kind of fitting for a discussion of if you're going to really make a bat race, shouldn't you at least consider sunlight sensitivity?
I was thinking that too, but it's one of those things where someone's going to come in here and be like, I actually study bats and that's not how bats work. And I'm like, I know.
Well, and don't at us. We
actually don't know is the thing, but we know we don't know.
We know we don't know. Well, when you're looking at things like that, more often than not, everything when you're building a player race, there's always going to be a little give and take. A lot of people look at it in the view of points, where it's like certain abilities are worth a certain amount of points or something like that. Like
sure.
And people have done like grid breakdowns of like how many each player handbook race is worth in points. So like dark vision is worth 1 point, or a +1 to a stat is worth 1 point. Things like that. And so as you can see too with this. They seem to be trying to balance out the ability to fly with by not giving a secondary stat boost in the base player race. You only get dexterity. You don't get dexterity and constitution like a normal goblin. And so it's one of those things where it's like they've clearly kind of like been taking a look at this and trying to balance it out, because one of the things about a player race starting with wings or the ability to fly is that has often been kind of a breaking point for a lot of homebrew, like tabletop DMs, and also specifically Adventure League. You pretty much Adventure League has its own different rules and is basically the closest you can get to professional D&D, but and one of its stipulations is you cannot be a player race that starts with a fly speed. So Aarakocra, even though they are a D&D official, cannot be played as player races in an Adventure League friendly game. Now that being said, so to add sunlight sensitivity, the reason drow have sunlight sensitivity, not just outside of the lore of it is to balance out the benefits they gain otherwise, kind of a thing. So because if I just had the option to play a race that had sunlight sensitivity, or I could play a functionally similar race, I would probably play the functionally similar race and just reflavor myself, kind of a thing.
For sure.
So, Drow have the largest range of dark vision of any other race in the game. And that is why they have sunlight sensitivity. They also have one of the most useful toolkits, at least of utility spells, in natural casting that they have. So both of those things together is kind of why they've been saddled with sunlight sensitivity. Even other Underdark races, not all of them do have sunlight sensitivity. I think Duergar, or the equivalent, the player race equivalent of Duergar, because they didn't call them that in Sword Coast Adventure Guide, and I don't remember. They have sunlight sensitivity, but they also have like the ability to cast Enlarge on themselves. But the Svirfneblin, or the Deep Gnomes, they don't have sunlight sensitivity. And they also, and I think part of that is because as a base player race, they don't have anything that would require that massive cost in their development. They do have access to more advanced things, but that's something that you have to use a feat to get in the Svirfneblin, like Deep Gnome magic kind of a thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But so it would be very interesting to kind of try and make a balanced version of this little bat friend here with a starting flying speed, and maybe even, like we talked about, even some form of blind sight maybe instead of dark vision.
Maybe.
Or blind sight on top of dark vision, like dark vision 60, blind sight 60, and then I think then we're in the neighborhood of talking where giving them sunlight sensitivity might be something that would give roleplay value, because you always want to be careful when giving negative, like just purely negative traits to a player race, as has been brought up specifically by Wizards of the Coast. They actually submitted errata that gets rid of all of the negative stat bonuses that the full-blooded orc race and the kobold race get from Volo's Guide to Monsters. They've errated that they just don't have those anymore, because it's one of those things where it's like, while that seems like it would be a good flavor thing, it's such a disincentivization of not just play, like to play a kobold or to play an orc or to play a drow, but it kind of not, and drow is kind of the exception because it's like clearly been heavily balanced and specific and things like that. But like so if we just gave this bat sunlight sensitivity, then people don't want to play it. Then it forces them into niches they don't necessarily want to do. Like, the orcs. I love the concept of an orc wizard, but like if you have a full-blooded orc and he has a -2 intelligence,
right?
The game is saying no, don't be a wizard. And that's things like that. So you want to, when you're crafting a player race, you want to avoid that. And I think that's kind of what. And I don't know what their thought process was when they were making the bats, but that is something you have to be very careful of. That you want to create something that people will want to use and want to take. That they want to take your little gem that you hand them and run wild with it and do whatever they do, weird stuff with the gem, And you never want to try and paint someone into a corner. That's why we usually, when Wizards of the Coast does, with their Unearthed Arcana classes they've been releasing, our immediate reaction is kind of negative when the introductory paragraphs of the subclass is prescribing a background to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we don't like being told how to play the game, because part of what D&D is now is us just doing whatever we want to do and seeing where the chips lie,
The what was the path? I think they are making an official version of this. We'll see how they ever adjusted it. But the Path of the Beast for the Barbarian, that was like, your dad was a werewolf. That has to be true now.
Yeah. Man, this is, going back a bit, but you mentioning the Adventure League did make me realize the Copper Fox Inn really just is the antithesis of Adventure League.
Well, and that's why I was like, I hesitated to bring it up, because it's
There's no
we're dealing exclusively with homebrew content. Like, none of this is Adventure League legal. It doesn't matter.
We do require the it's like there's the Adventure League rule Player's Handbook +1. It's like you get one other book we're like Player's Handbook plus one other source, and we list like D&D wiki, like plus one. You can have it from Twitter, but not if it's on Instagram.
No, the Copper Fox Inn is actually unofficial content plus one official book.
It has to have at least one official
You
trait.
can only have one official trait. Everything else has to be from D&D wiki.
If you don't pick the Player's Handbook, that means you only get the abilities from the subclasses if you're reading through Volo's guide, or Xanathar's guide to everything. So then you only get the skills and abilities and benefits written in there because they don't have the full classes. They just have the subclasses.
To go back and to reference another thing, Onog, you were saying that one of the reasons Dark Elves are saddled with sunlight sensitivity is because they have one of the better natural spellcasting kits. A slight side effect of the build I was discussing is that you can just cast darkness on yourself, and guess
you
what?
have advantage to fight.
It doesn't matter.
Guess what? You got advantage against everybody, boys.
It doesn't affect you.
Yeah, that's a little bit like maybe broken.
That's a cool flavor, though.
It is pretty cool.
Well, that's what
It's also so anime. Like, he isn't blind, but he puts on a blindfold to fight because that's how he was trained.
Very Ninja Turtle.
We
It's
intentionally
like that
trained him
one guy in
wrong
Kill
as
la
a
Kill.
joke.
We trained him. Look, we've been doing this as a prank, but the problem is he could kill any of us now. We can't tell him. Yeah. It's like your warlock with Devil's Sight is seeing through the magical darkness, and they see that you without Devil's Sight are just punching people in the face, and they're like, never mind, I'm staying out here.
Yikes.
That guy means business. All right. Our Batlin friend, do you have any, what was Batty the Batlin, was it?
Yes, you can call me Betty for short.
Do you have any parting words of wisdom
It's short for
us?
Battlegard.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any parting words of wisdom for us? I'm sure, you have some unique qualities and characteristics, from your unique perspective on life, being a Batlin and all. What can you tell us before we end the episode as I search for a segue here?
Be spooky.
To each other.
Kooky.
Oh.
And by God, be... I don't know I can't think of something that rhymes. Looky. But most of all, be kind. This Halloween season. And also, don't go to any parties, and please continue wearing masks.
Yeah. Halloween was all year long as we all wore masks and were afraid every day.
Wow, yikes.
The real Halloween was with us all along. Well, that's where we'll... Man, we'll cut that bit out. Thank you, Batlagard, for those words of wisdom and inspiration.
You're welcome. I actually am a bard. You have inspiration now.
I'm a bard. We should hang out.
Oh, no way!
We should get drinks after
We should absolutely.
Do you drink Bloody Marys?
Oh, this is the jokester right
yes,
here.
actually, you probably would, because Bloody Marys would have
tomato
high
juice.
vitamin
yes,
C
I
content,
do.
which,
I
as a
absolutely
bat,
love that.
Yeah.
I love fruity drinks. I eat small insects, I think, sometimes. I don't know a lot about bats.
You don't know Batlagard? You don't know a lot about bats? That's very interesting.
Do you know everything about human biology, huh?
I don't want to talk about Earth stuff. Well,
there we go.
Thanks for listening, travelers. Remember to comment below or send in your homebrews to us at thecopperfoxinn@gmail.com, on social media at thecopperfoxinn. Please like the video if you liked it. Dislike the video if you're a big meanie who's very mean to us. We're very nice people.
If you want us to cry.
But if you do dislike it, please leave a comment. But it just says the word bats. But if you like the video, also leave a comment that says the word bats.
If you dislike the video, here's the rule: you have to subscribe so that you can keep disliking every video. That way, we know that you really don't like it.
Yeah, joke's
But
on you. We got engagement either way.
But wait, that sub count does go up, but baby, Betty.
Betty.
Thanks for listening. Keep on adventuring. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.